Tutorial hell. If you have been a programmer for any time now, you already know what that is. Being stuck in a loop of watching tutorials over and over and over again without being able to complete a new project from start to finish by your own. And I have been there. I got frustrated. I almost quit learning programming actually, but then I have found a way that helped me to escape, to break free from this tutorial hell. So today I want to talk with you about the 3 mistakes that are keeping you in tutorial hell and what you can do to avoid them. And the first one is trying to memorize the code. If you think this way, you won't be able to learn anything at all, unfortunately. Because when you learn a new programming language or a new framework like React, Vue, Laravel, Django, Node.js, WordPress and whatnot, you have to learn a lot of syntax, like a literal ton of syntax. And also a lot of keywords for functions that do certain stuff. You have to know how to name a function, you have to know how to invoke a function, you have to know how to name a class, just to name a few things. Or you may if you have an excellent memory, but then why are you watching this video for? But if you are anything like me, even after years of working with WordPress, you will still go on Google to search for how you can do that basic functionality in WordPress. And because that you think that you have to learn all this functionality, all the functions by heart, you won't be able to break free from the tutorials because you will feel that you don't know anything. So what can you do? Stop trying to memorize everything. Obviously, in the long run, you will still want to know how to do a lot of things with the programming language or with the framework you are learning, but in the beginning, it will be like drinking from a hose. You will get there, but not really like all at once. So, stop trying to memorize everything from the first try. The second mistake that keeps you from escaping tutorial hell is not clicking the like button for the YouTube algorithm. Okay, on a more serious note, the second mistake is not trying to replicate tutorial projects. If you are watching tutorials like the feds are printing money, the only thing that will happen is that you will be overwhelmed with a lot of information. You are watching tutorial after tutorial, doing tutorial project after tutorial project, then you will be bombarded with a lot of information and you won't remember anything. So after you're done watching a tutorial, don't just go and watch another one. Let me give you a quick example. Let's say you have to watch a React tutorial on how to build a to-do list app. Now you have the code for a fully functioning to-do list app made with React. So instead of just jumping to another tutorial to do another project, try to replicate the project that you've done before earlier, but with a twist. What do I mean by that? The tutorial covered how to do a to-do app. So you will try to build a grocery list app. They are basically the same, but with minor differences. Or you can go even further and try to build a contact management app. You won't be adding to-do lists or groceries, you will be adding people. And you will build this app by referencing the code that you have written in the tutorial project. The fact that you are reading the code you have written earlier and you are rewriting it, but with a twist, will force your brain to reprocess that information and actually help it store it and remember it way better. This is actually the exact way I've learned WordPress, Laravel, React, and whatever technologies that I know. And this brings us to the third mistake, that is not graduating from the tutorials. When you will end up working on a bit larger projects, maybe at work, maybe on your own, you won't be able to just go to tutorials when you run into a roadblock. Well, you might, but not that much. You might watch a tutorial on a very specific task or a very specific problem that you need. But other than that, you will be searching on Google, you will be reading Stack Overflow, and I believe this is the most important one, you will be reading the documentation of your framework. Tutorials can only help you so much. When you run into more nuanced stuff or more specific problems, there may not be even any tutorials on how to solve that specific problem that you are encountering. Let me give you a specific example. When I have started learning Laravel, I did exactly what I have said you a couple of minutes ago. Yeah, I drink my own medicine. I have watched a tutorial, actually it was a mini course on Laravel from Brad Traversy. After watching the tutorial, I've started building a new app, and this was a little bit more difficult because it was a big leap from what I have built in the tutorial project and what I have built in the real project. The tutorial project was actually a blog, and the real project was actually kind of a CRM. But with the knowledge from the tutorial and the code example that I had, I was actually able to finish the other project that I was working on. Okay, but that was quite some time ago. But now I'm building another app using Laravel after not having worked with it from like version 5 or 6. So I have to watch a quick tutorial. Actually, again, it was a mini course of a couple of hours. Got reminded of the basics and then started to work on a new project. And actually, it was something wildly different than anything I have built before. I have used the code from the tutorial or the code example and the processes I learned, but the tutorial could only help me so much. For example, I had to find a way to implement cron jobs and background jobs or scheduled tasks in Laravel. I have never done that before. Guess what I did? I went straight to documentation. Not a tutorial, not a question on Stack Overflow, but straight to the documentation. Actually, the Laravel documentation is really good, so I had quite some easy time, but I digress. And I've actually done the same for everything I have encountered. The result? I've managed to get any roadblock so far. I have learned a lot about Laravel and about React, and I feel more confident in my ability to start and actually finish a project on my own with Laravel and React. So the moment when you try to replicate tutorial projects with your own twist, and the moment when you start to rely less on tutorials and more on documentation, is the moment when you are actually on your way out of tutorial hell. And being out of tutorial hell is amazing, but it won't help much if you won't be able to get paid for what you have learned. So to solve that problem, watch this video right here where I talk about the easiest way to get a web developer job.